It's great to be here. I'm a longtime fan of fantasy, and in particular of surrealism. So I thought tonight to honor the spirit of surrealism by starting with some poems about dreams. This first one is called Manifesto. It's the only manifesto I've ever written. And it's after a great poem. When I dream, I vote. Exercise my rights as citizen of the dream state to terraform the future. Work to abolish the most abject poverty of all, that of knowing only one world. Activists, lovers, don't just entwine your bodies, but also dreams. When you sleep together, go all the way. So I had a book that gave you instructions on how to achieve lucid dreaming. And this was one of the exercises. You're supposed to go to a public place and look around you and imagine what everyone dreamt the night before. And then as you do it, you say to yourself, everybody has dreams. And so I didn't achieve lucid dreaming, but I did get this poem called Everybody Has Dreams. And I went to a Basilica's restaurant on 2nd Avenue to do my exercise. Last night, the cook dreamt a giant mouth dribbling blood or ketchup. He has trouble relating to women. The woman in the beige pantsuit dreamt of a computer that transports objects into the future. The woman by the window was a little girl holding her mother's hand. That guy near the door followed a melody into a forest. The busboy was driving a sports car, fast. The skinny girl was a military general in a country ruled by a giant inflatable cat. The waitress murdered somebody. Even now, she looks guiltily over her shoulder as she wipes the silverware clean. New cult in town. I lose my flip-flops in the restaurant, come home bare feet dirty. When I open the door, there's a shiny new bathroom, unexpected, on the first floor of my building. Some guy I never met says, feel free to shower. Thanks. Maybe another time. Who's that, I say to Jerome upstairs. They just moved in and they worship the earth, he says. They gain all their power by laying face down in the dirt for hours on end. Oh. Turns out I know 2 poets who also do that. But a third warns me not to get involved, that they're kind of skeezy. The ones you meet on the way up. The itsy-bitsy spider I killed returned to the exact same spot on the wall in my dream, only this time much bigger and hairier, louder too. Its thin voice lashed out at me, crisscrossing the room, instantaneously capturing the pale crumb of my head in its elaborate argument. It was speaking high spider. That ancient language of clipped grandiloquent tones. My shoes were crazy glued to the floor. My cries to him were as doggerel. So now I'm going to switch from dreams to a more sci-fi motif. I have a new book, Click and Clone, so I'm going to read some of my clone poems from it. This is the title poem, Click and Clone, and there's 2 intentional typos in it. One is Womaro instead of tomorrow, and the other one is Saturday instead of Saturday. Heartbeat flipbook, clone booth, caught in the layer cake of an ancient argument, syllabic silhouettes, between, lunar parentheses, morning and evening grids, spirit construction workers, see-through dimensions, see you tomorrow, or maybe Saturday, surfs up, brainwaves, green mother and child, green rocking chair earth, love, I have put on this ape suit for you. One clone is too many, and 100 aren't enough. Did Poe's protagonist William Wilson end up killing his double? The one he thought was always mocking him? I forget. And what about Dostoevsky's double? Didn't that guy move to another country or something? At first, it may cause problems when there are more than one of you. People tend to take sides and favor one over the other. Your shadows are always stepping on each other. In the past, there was a, this life isn't big enough for the both of us feel to it all. But now everyone is so busy, no one really cares which one of you shows up. I was reading a bunch of clone books when I wrote that, Clone Classics Like Brave New World. And it's true, you can't keep track of all of them. They just blur. This is called Every Clone Needs a Backup. Every clone needs a backup in case something misfires. You don't want to put yourself through all that trouble again. In the future, when people get married, they may routinely make up another maid or two, like a spare set of keys. And then divorce will be different too. My ex got the house, but I'm keeping the clone. That's a good idea, right? We may even look back fondly to the time when there was only one of everyone. Not like this trend where people die and you start seeing them everywhere. That actually was from a news story about there's a pet cloning company, and they wanted to do like a nice publicity gesture. So there was a handicapped woman who lost her dog, and so they gave her a free clone of her dog. Only they didn't just give her one, they gave her 5. And I remember at the end of the dog's name was Booger. And at the end of the article it said, I was so sad when Booger died, and now I have 5 of him. So I thought it's good advice. If you spend 20 grand, which is how much it costs to get your pet cloned, if you spend 20 grand, make sure they give you extras. This is called Envoy, and I was thinking of Ezra Pound's poem Envoy, where he's like, go poem, go and do this, go and do that, so it was easy to just go clone. Go clone. Tell them I tried, but not enough. That I was overly fond of lingering, unable to adapt. Say it in my own words. Now yours. One substance and one color. See those places I was too lazy to see for myself, that I preferred to imagine as distant, foreign. Find him, clone. That fabled other, braving time. Confirm for me the rumor that somewhere difference still exists. I'm going to switch to some newer poems now. This is called A Story Begins. A story begins the same as other stories, but we follow along in case something different might happen. Just one different thing. It leads us to a ledge and pushes us over. Every story has a climax in a way life doesn't. It puts us back where it found us. It opens our eyes, which weren't closed, but felt that way because what we saw was happening inside the story. We are the excess of the story, that which it cannot contain, washed ashore. What was the story about? I can't remember. A dwindling, dim-witted tribe. Every month when the moon was full, they'd sacrifice another virgin, but could never figure out why the crops still wouldn't grow. Distant relatives. A dog's big, wet muzzle. Milk-bone breath. Does he ever think of me, who sat with him beneath the grown-up table, rolling a ball between us? Dad says we can't afford to send a man to the moon this year, but we can send a robot brother that's even better. Just imagine his shiny body like a pie plate reflector, beaming the kind of thing meant to inspire song. But I found it sad to picture him there all alone, jerking this way and that. My father barking orders, telling him he'd better hurry and finish cleaning up that huge empty room. That was another recent news story about sort of like what's become of the space race. So it's like, well, we don't have any money anymore to send a man to the moon, but we're going to send a robot. It's going to be really good. It sounded so lame. How could you get excited about that? Oh, great, for a robot. So this next poem was inspired actually by a Facebook post of Ben Friedlander, who's right here, Carla's partner. And the post was, you went to visit your father in the nursing home and you thought you smelled marijuana. Many people thought it was very funny, myself among them. So I wrote this poem, Spontaneous Generation, and I was thinking of the idea of people who act impulsively, but I was also thinking of the old scientific idea that inanimate objects could give birth to living things. Spontaneous generation. Luminous blank, cut from darkness, floating free as a new century, where the young are implacable and the old are crazy and do as they please. How did a silent movie give birth to a nation? How did a mouse, a shirt, and a few grains of wheat grow up to be the president? Okay, this is the last poem. It's about being very frazzled and exhausted and overextended. I thought it was a good holiday poem. And it's called Cut to the Chase. Get a load of the gridlock on that one. Somebody dumped sugar in her synthesizer. Just thinking of it gives my brain a wedgie. Seems like one thing is always in the process of overtaking another, even if they both move slower than the decline of the Roman Empire. Never was a person so hemmed in by the plaid striped polka dot pattern of thoughts. The busier they are, the more doesn't happen. Did you think of that all by yourself while staring at the plasma screen lake? No. It's something I read in an old fortune cookie. But it doesn't change the fact that certain information is still missing. I guess we could sit and wait. Does anybody here remember how to dance? Thank you.